Hey everybody, JJ here. Back again with another Wednesday of Zoom networking. I've got one of my favorite people in the world as my guest host today, or my guest speaker, guest host. Um, this young lady and I started in a real estate education platform about 5 years ago. I forget who started first, but right about the same time. I've seen her go from new student, successful student, entrepreneur, uh, businesswoman, real estate investor, successful business owner, and has been a coach and now mentored many, many people. Um, it's just one of the unbelievable rock stars we have in our community of real estate investment. I'd like to introduce my good friend, Miss Marie Baginski. How are you, Marie?
I'm doing great, JJ. How are you?
I'm good. How are your husband and the boys?
They are doing awesome. Thank you for asking. I'm really excited about today. I haven't been on any of your Zooms in a while, so I'm excited to kind of get to know people that are here and share some of my knowledge as well.
Yeah, we've changed the format a little bit. I think it's a little bit more enjoyable. We're going to talk about your past.
Ooh.
Talk about, yeah, before the pool cues. Well, maybe not. So I started shooting pool when I was taking piano lessons in my 10 years old. My piano teacher had a pool table in the backyard. When my brother got his lesson, I shot pool with her son. When I got my lesson, my brother shot pool with her son. So
Like,
I was shooting pool from a young age. And obviously pool is one of your favorite pastimes. Is that correct?
absolutely. We're competing in Puerto Rico at the beginning of November. So we're getting ready to go on a week-long trip.
Hot dog. Hot
Yeah.
dog. Yeah, I think of that. Yeah, what was her name? Janet Lee, the competitor that always wore black when she played and had the black glove. Yeah, the Black Widow. Yeah, yeah. So do you have any kind of theme to your motif when you're shooting?
So, my last name is Baginski, right? I married into that name, and my husband's nickname is Bags. So, my nickname on the teams is always Money Bags.
There you go. There you
I'm
go.
I'm the one with the money, they say. So,
Money bags. Cool. Hey, so you and I met through real estate investment. Our that was our initial commonality. We've become friends since then. I've actually flown down to Phoenix for, well, my next question. For those that don't know, where in the country are you located?
yeah. So, I live in Phoenix, Arizona. I was born and raised in New York City. So, if you hear, a little bit of a sailor mouth or some cuss words or an accent come through, born and raised first 30 years of my life in New York, but been in Phoenix for about 10 years now. So,
I love that. I love that. I was gonna say for you, no, no, not Marie. Yeah,
sometimes.
you know, as I was getting into a couple years ago, Samantha and I came down to Phoenix for spring training and
Mhm.
had the pleasure to, hang with you and some mutual friends at the Dodgers spring training game down there, which was a lot of fun. Yeah, yeah, real estate. We've been doing that as students. We started about 5 years ago. But I'd like to talk a lot about, how did we get started? What do we have in common with other people? We're driving at 16, we're voting at 18. We're able to order a bottle of beer, glass of wine or something with dinner at 21. Um, for you and your teens going into your 20s, and I'm not sure when you got married, but it happened somewhere along the line, obviously. Um, from your teens going into your 20s, was real estate anywhere on the landscape for you? Was mom an agent? Was dad a contractor? Did you have, or were you just doing school, or were you working retail all the time and not going to school, or
Yeah,
what was your thing from your teens and your 20s?
it's actually a very interesting question. So, for those of you that don't know, I went to high school for performing arts and I started singing opera when I was 12 years old. So, yeah, look at JJ's very surprised.
And you
Um,
shoot pool.
and I shoot pool. Yeah. So I went to the Performing Arts High School in New York City. I've performed at Carnegie Hall and many other places. Um,
Impressive.
musical theater and opera, classically trained. So
You
did a
go,
bunch
girl.
of that. And interestingly enough, when I went to college, I was a freshman music major. I thought I was going to continue learning music and, audition for Broadway shows when I got back into the city after graduation, all that kind of stuff. And then um, I don't know, halfway through my freshman year, I was like, I've already have a lot of music education, right? I took private lessons. I went to this awesome school. Even in high school, our productions were done by the New York City like
Oh yeah,
Metropolitan Opera House.
yeah.
So like the set designers came over from the Metropolitan Opera House, the musical director. We had such an incredible education that I was like, what am I going to get a degree in music for? I don't necessarily want to be a music teacher. So if I'm going to spend money and go to college, because my parents couldn't afford to send me to college. So I was going off of, student loans and scholarships. And I was like, if I'm going to spend the time here, I should get a degree that is my fallback, right? So being very practical, I completely did a 180 and I switched into engineering. So I have a degree in electrical engineering.
Wow.
That
So you're not just a pretty face.
No, I was a professional licensed engineer for 15 years.
Cool.
I've done work all over the country. I'm licensed in 4 different states. I actually still have my licenses, right? They're just about to expire because I had the opportunity to leave that W-2 job a few years ago and go full time in real estate.
Wow. So now,
So,
when I met you 5 years ago, uh, were you doing engineering while you were in Phoenix?
yep.
Okay.
Yep. So I worked for Jacobs Engineering for, like I said, almost 15 years. The first 7 years of my career were in New York, and then the next seven were here in Phoenix.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, so you started in New York, moved to Phoenix. The boys come along, you guys got the family growing. How did you make your transition to real estate? Yeah, was it a commercial on TV? I know that the program that we were with, they had commercials on TV or,
Yeah.
word of
So
mouth.
I'm going to throw one more curveball in there for you guys. You're really going to get to know all about me on this call. But after I graduated, right, have a degree in electrical engineering, but I used to watch those movies growing up of like these kids like backpacking through Europe. I thought this would be a great idea, but I'm not rich and I can't backpack through Europe. My parents aren't going to pay for that. So right when I graduated, I actually got a job with Club Med and they put me in Cancun. And so I was working as a bartender for Club Med in Cancun for 6 months and met amazing, amazing people that were traveling to Club Med and like millionaires, right? Like going on these all-inclusive vacation resorts. This is not like I'd never went on a vacation like this growing up at all, guys, right? I was lucky like if we went camping, like that was our vacations. We were not well off. So I meet this like really young entrepreneur. He's like in his late 20s and he's just a single guy chilling at the resort for like 2 weeks. And I remember talking to him and I'm like, what do you do? And like,
How do you
how come
do
you
this?
right? How do you do this? How are you just like chilling in Cancun for a couple of weeks by yourself, right? And he was like, introduced me to the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and said you should, really look at becoming an investor. And so that was probably it. When I went back to New York, and of course I did get a W-2 job and used my background and worked as an engineer, but when I first read Rich Dad Poor Dad, about 6 months later, I had moved back to New York and I found out that Robert Kiyosaki was going to be at what they called the Real Estate Wealth Expo at the Jacob Javits Center. So it was like a 3-day weekend, right? Like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And they had hundreds of speakers and all these little breakout sessions and keynote speakers at the end of the day included Robert Kiyosaki himself, Tony Robbins, and Donald Trump. Those were the three keynote speakers the first year.
Wow. Wow. That's
So that was like my intro. It started a whole journey of like wanting to learn how to invest, personal development, right? Because again, Tony Robbins was amazing. And it was, by the way, guys, this is like 2005, 2005. So it's like right before the crash. I mean, and you could say whatever you want about Donald Trump, but I will tell you that he was like, do not go buy real estate right now. Wait a couple of years. I was like, okay, that was actually really good advice. But I mean, the amount of speakers, the second year I went back, Fan Merrill from Fortune Builders was in one of the breakout rooms selling like his marketing boot camp in a backpack. So that was the first time I ever heard of Fan. Way,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't join Fortune Builders till way later. Um,
Yeah.
really got, opened the door to be able to listen to multiple speakers present on multiple topics, everything from being a business owner, buying businesses, tax savings, right? Accountants that they had up there. Really just starting to shift my mindset and see that there was another world out there because I grew up with parents that were just like, go to school, get a good job, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Most of
So,
us.
yeah, I mean, most of us did, right? That's just, I'm in my 40s, guys, so I just have a really young face. But that's how we grew up, right? It's just like go to school, get a good education, go get a good job, and climb up the corporate ladder. And I was doing that, but it was not, it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. And I would go to these seminars and I did a couple of things with Robert Kiyosaki's program, did everything that Tony Robbins had to offer. I was all in because I had a whole bunch of childhood trauma that I needed to work through, right? And get my mindset right. So from that one event, I just, it kind of, just rolled and rolled and rolled. And I kept doing more and more things and wanting to learn more and experience more.
We met through, as you mentioned, Fortune Builders, a program that's changed quite a bit since we first got in there.
Yeah.
How did you find out about that? Was it a commercial? Was there somebody tell you about to go to one of these events at
Yeah.
a hotel or something?
Yeah. It was a radio commercial. And so I did that, right? It was one of the hotel rooms for a couple of hours,
Hmm.
sold you on the 3-day event, and then
Yep.
bought. So did all of that as well. And that was later. So at that point, like I said, I had done some of the other programs, just, really low entry, buying like 3-day events, not like full on platforms and educational stuff, but kind of just kept picking up nuggets. And so I bought my first flip and first rental in 2009. And then just slowly, did one at a time while I was working engineering full time and all that.
Wow.
And then we moved to Phoenix in 2013. Had both of our kids are born in Phoenix. So, but yeah, once we moved here, it was like, let's kind of go in full force. So I bought my first Airbnb in 2014. So I've been in the Airbnb game for a really long time.
Wow.
And
You've got several of those now, right?
mm-hmm. Yep. So we have a small portfolio. We have 5 Airbnbs that we own, and then a couple more that we manage for other people. I don't do rental arbitrage. So yeah, so we've been doing all that. And then actually 2021, when Pace and Jamil and all those guys started the Triple Digit Flip TV show, they also started a mentorship called Flip Me. And I got invited to be a coach for that program. So I was a coach for them and used to get on 30-minute calls with their students and help them, whatever it was, find contractors, run numbers on deals, all the things related to real estate. So, but similar to you, I got into Fortune Builders in 2018, and 2019, I started a weekly meetup, right? So here in Phoenix, I had a weekly meetup. We met every week in person all through 2019 and the first half of 2020, and then kind of shifted to more of a Zoom style. And so with that, I've been helping and networking and coaching people for the last 5 years. So
Is there anyone in particular along the way that's really kind of stood out for you to be like a mentor, or maybe one or two people that have really helped to facilitate your growth or guide your direction, that have had really great impacts on the growth of your real estate business?
yeah, that's a really good question. I think for me personally, I like to get in the room with as many people as possible, right? So even when I joined Fortune Builders, as soon as I had the opportunity, I went back to do team leading and got to like be behind the scenes, right? Like in the rooms. It's not team leading. What do they call it at Fortune Builders when you go back? Crush It Crew,
Crush
right?
It Crew.
So
Crush It Crew.
got to do on Crush It Crew. And honestly, one of my favorite things was doing check-in and handing out. I don't know if you even remember this, JJ, but the first time I ever met you was because I was on Crush It Crew handing out, you had to come get your
Your
name tag
badge.
for the
Yeah.
event, the name badge. And that was the first time I actually met you. And I remember seeing your name on Facebook before that. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. I'm finally going to meet JJ in person, right? Because for the last few months, I had been seeing you on Facebook. So I just really always wanted to be in the rooms with the people.
Yeah.
So it's not
Crucial.
about going to the event and learning, but going back as Crush It Crew. I got to sit behind the scenes with a lot of their instructors. Somebody like Elisa Sabile, who is teaching their marketing boot camp,
Mhm.
amazing, became a close personal friend of mine because I was running the microphone in her room and then we were able to have lunch together,
Yeah,
right?
she's
So
wonderful.
she's amazing, as well as who teaches their Internet Quick Start Academy, Linda Peterson,
Linda
right?
Peterson, Brian Fine.
Yeah, got to kind of meet all of them behind the scenes because it's different, when you're in a room like that and you're teaching and coaching a room full of people, there's only so many one-on-one conversations you can have during breaks and meeting
Yeah.
people. But being able to go back as crew and actually have lunch with them, like have a little bit more one-on-one time, that made the biggest impact. So I became friends with a couple of their really good speakers. Sean Tiberio is a close personal friend of mine now. We do business together as well. He was a Fortune Builder speaker and trainer for years. And then I did join the Avengers Mastermind from Clever, so got to meet more of those guys. Now I'm in the boardroom, which is Kent Clothier's mastermind, which is amazing. It's all
Cool.
really great. So just I kind of keep pushing myself to be in the room, right?
Yeah.
Just be with the people, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask whatever the dumb question because that's how people know you.
So at every level, as we progress, there's always another room. There's always another level of people that we want to meet.
Absolutely.
Um, so I always talk about networking all the time, but let me ask this. For the newer investors, maybe that are on this call or just watching on YouTube right now, um, what are one or two really big tips that you could give the newer investors about um, how to approach their visibility, how to approach their networking? You talked about being in the room,
Yeah.
but are there any one or two bullets you could mention off the bat that give it a second thought here? But
Yeah.
as I put you on the spot.
It's fine. It's fine. I was like, I do have a little presentation prepared, and so I don't want to jump into anything that I'm going to say there. But I mean, to answer that question, I have completely changed my intentionality before I go to an event.
I
Okay.
love that.
I used to just show up and say, I'm going to talk to as many people as I can talk to and network with everyone. And I'm just going to absorb as much as I can. Now I go in with a lot more intention and actually prepare myself before the event.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
So for the boardroom, for instance, we meet once every quarter, and every quarter we have to give them KPIs of what our company is doing. Every company, every business that is there has to present. And so I have to put together everything before we get there. And that has forced me to say, oh, these are our metrics. These are where we're having problems in our company. What questions can I ask? Who do I need to talk to about this? Right? Like get really specific on who you're going to network with, not just I'm going to network with as many people as possible. It's like, oh, we're having issues. We're spending way too much money on marketing right now. That's not good. Who can I specifically talk to there that's going to help me with my marketing? Right? Or we're getting a lot of leads, but we're just not closing the contract. So who can I talk to there that's an excellent closer that can help me with some of those skills? So I just think, one thing is don't keep paying for mentorships and being the quiet mouse, the fly on the wall, as they say. Because I know so many people that go from mentorship to mentorship to mentorship, pay 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, whatever, from one to one to one, and they're still not doing deals. And I'm just what are you spending all this money on? Take action and speak up. And I mean, I know that not everyone's as outgoing as I am. My business partner, Jake, he always makes a joke. He's like, all right, I'm going to need to have 3 drinks tonight before I start networking. And I'm like, I get to him at the end of the night and I'm like, I just talked to these 20 people. How'd you do? He's like, I spoke to 2. I'm like, okay, it's fine. Yeah, and he had, 3 shots of whiskey or something to get him there. Not everyone's, a great outgoing person. But if you're going to pay to be in a mentorship, utilize every part of that mentorship, right? So watch the videos, show up to the calls, ask your questions, take action. I don't care if you do it completely wrong. That's how we learn. We have to take action. So my pieces of advice are take action and just be intentional.
I love that completely. And on the take action thing, I kind of relate that also to follow up. A lot of times when we're meeting people and we talk about meeting people at events, to get back with them. And again, that's part of taking action. That's just me adding a little bit to what you said. And I said for a long time, same thing as you said about when it comes to going to events to network. I use the exact phrase: network with intention, have a game plan, know what you're going to do. How are you going to utilize your time?
Yeah.
When I joined Fortune Builders, they had a group in LA that met weekly. There was a weekly huddle, the LA weekly huddle. Yep. And of course, so you have the Phoenix weekly huddle, your group over there. And I met a guy named Vin Ochoa who went out to dinner. Everybody said he's the guy to talk to. And he says to me, all these groups are fine and dandy, all these groups that you buy, you pay for. But the education is not making a nuclear bomb out of plutonium. It's not top secret stuff. You can go to the public library, Google University, Bigger Pockets, Google itself. You can find the information out there. Of course, it's packaged in different ways, but it's all valuable information. But the real gold that any program offers are the people. And as Marie says, if you're in those communities and you're not taking time to not just meet the people, but develop relationships that will endure time, then you're not getting your dollar's worth out of the group you've joined. As I like to say, you're not squeezing juice from the orange. Yeah. So I say this stuff all the time, but to hear it from someone like yourself, different words, but the same message, it just kind of validates, what the landscape is and the importance of getting to meet those people and having an intention to go out and network.
I'm so excited to be here. Like JJ said, we've known each other for a long time. I have personally been on a personal development journey and mindset journey for a very long time. Like you guys just heard, my first event was with Tony Robbins back in 2005. So that's when I really, really started on my personal development journey and kind of mastering my own mindset. And that's what I want to share with you guys today. So this session, like I said, I want to use the chat box. I want you guys to have on your videos if you can. I want to see some reactions. It's going to be a little interactive and maybe different than some of JJ's other speakers, because I'm different than JJ's other speakers. But also because we're talking about mindset, right? It's super important. I want to make sure I'm talking to people. I want to see your guys' reaction, make sure that it's not just a bunch of AI bots and iPhones on the other end. So I can see your faces. I got my screen set up. So if I'm looking up a little bit, it's because that's where your faces are. And then I got the slides in front of me. So just don't mind me, but give me thumbs up, comments in the chat box, all that kind of stuff. All right. So first, I just want to say or ask, let's use the chat box. Go ahead and put a number 1 if you've ever had a hard time communicating with someone, whether it be in business or your personal life. Because I'm sure we've all had troubles communicating at some point, right? In case we haven't met before, obviously, my name is Marie Baginski. I've been on a personal development journey since 2005. And in the past few years, I've become certified as a master practitioner in neuro-linguistic programming, timeline therapy, and hypnotherapy. And I know that is a mouthful, but I have invested over $500,000 into my own mindset and personal development at seminars all over the world with incredible trainers like Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, Robert Kiyosaki. And over the past 5 years, I've literally coached hundreds of entrepreneurs. And the most important thing I have learned is that mastering your mindset and communication skills is the key to growing your business and really living your best possible life. So this is a picture of me singing at Carnegie Hall, a picture of me with my crazy family, because that's our thing. Every time we're at family photos, we always want to make crazy faces. An NLP event that I was at recently, coaching and team leading, and those are some of my students. I also have a podcast. Me and my partner show go live every Tuesday. It's called Learn from My Fuck Up. Learn from My Mistake. And we have a bunch of people in real estate and business. So definitely check that out. And as you can see, I have been speaking, and even, every once in a while, this is actually a picture of me in my first flip. So if you guys see me on stilts, I literally did a lot of work on my first flip back in 2009. So fun stuff there. Okay. So mastering your mindset and communication. I want to talk about some of the things that we learn in NLP. Okay, that's, again, neuro-linguistic programming for anyone that doesn't know NLP. And it's the fact that at any given moment, you can control 4 things. And this is at all times. It's how you think, how you feel, how you act, and what you say. And I know for many of you, this might come as a shock, or you might think like, who's been like me? Just give me a thumbs up or raise your hand if you've ever been like, you make me so angry. Like you've had that reaction before, right? You make me so angry. Well, I really didn't make you angry. Like you've chosen to feel angry. We all have a choice on how we feel. And I know that sometimes that's hard for us to hear, but we all have a choice on how we think, right? How we can change what's going on in our minds to literally destroy our old limiting beliefs, change your perception, see things from another angle. And really what NLP has allowed me to do over the last few years is completely change my perception. I've gotten rid of so many shit limiting beliefs that I'm sure we have all had or thought, right? I'm not good enough. What if I'm not worthy? I can't do that, right? We've all had those things. So we get rid of that stuff with NLP. And we really get to create clarity, purpose, vision of our lives. I have become such a good communicator with my husband and my kids, right? And there's not these just random arguments all the time or miscommunication and all these things. So unfortunately, on the call today, I can't get through everything that I've learned in NLP, but I definitely want to bring you guys through changing some of how you communicate, and it will affect how you think and how you act and how you feel. So we're all in real estate here, right? We've all heard the word rapport. You want to build rapport with your sellers, right? Thumbs up, all heard the word. Okay, but truly, what is rapport? It is a close and harmonious relationship. What does that mean? Well, it could be with family or friends or coworkers, right? It could be with a seller. And it's in that relationship that people actually understand each other's feelings or ideas and communicate well, right? So I really want to break this down because I think a lot of the times we're trying to communicate well, we think we're doing a great job communicating, but the person on the other end is like, I don't understand what you're saying. And I know I've been there, right? I've done that. And you're so frustrated. I don't even understand. There's no other way that I can explain this to you. How are we not are we speaking two different languages, right? Who's ever been there where you're like, I feel like I'm speaking two different languages and we're all speaking English, right? It doesn't make any sense. So I really want to break down some of these communication skills today. And thank you guys. I see your remarks. Erasing limiting programming, Mark. Yes, Caesar, frequency. Yes. Okay. So I can see all of your chats. Awesome. And so today I want to break into like, how do we really build rapport? We talk, I've heard everybody talk about it. Pace talks about it, right? I think, what does he call it? Find the bunnies. Is that it? Right? Like what are the bunnies? But honestly, communication is only 7% words, guys. You say something and then you ever been, this is like an argument, right? Husband, wife, anybody married will know this. You say something and they say something back to you and you're like, that's not what I said. You're like, what? Like, how did you hear that? Right? So 7% words. And then we have tonality, and we have the physiology. So everything that you guys said is right. It's visual, it's body language, right? Physiology. This is all like how people are seeing what we're literally seeing us while we talk. And then they're picking up on our tone of voice, right? A lot of people are very auditory. Again, as a singer, I'm a very auditory person. So I will pick up on, I'm like that person that's like, how you doing, honey? And they're like, fine. And you're like, fine, what? Right? I'm going to listen to how they say it, not the words that they say. So this is really important for us to notice, especially because we're all trying to communicate with sellers and buyers and do deals. And communication is such a part of what we have to do because we have to build rapport, but everyone's different, right? So the next thing I want to teach you guys, you might not have ever heard this before. It's something called representational systems. So this is a good opportunity if you are taking notes and you want to write this down. Just a couple slides here, and then we're going to break out again, okay? So representational systems, what this is how do you process the world around you? Everyone has a different preferred rep system, and we all use our five senses, right? We all can use our hearing, our sense of taste, smell, whatever. But for in general, when we are understanding and like processing the world, we all have a preferred system, okay? The major systems are either visual, auditory, kinesthetic, or what is called auditory digital. Okay, so I'll break these down. We all know what visual means, right? Everybody give me a thumbs up. People are like, yep, I'm a visual learner. If I see it, I remember it. I have that kind of memory. You're visual. Auditory, right? Again, I'm into music. I am highly auditory. So I use a lot of auditory anchors, which I didn't even know existed before I did NLP. Then we have kinesthetic. So kinesthetic are our feelers, right? And it could be both types of feelings, actual emotional feelings, right? How does this make you feel? I'm going to trust my gut, that kind of person, right? Or they also respond to actual physical touch, right? So kinesthetic could be both types of feelings, okay? It could be emotional feelings and actually tactile sensations. And then auditory digital, this might be something new for most of you. This is the type of person that is taking in from all of their other senses, and then their brain works like a computer and they're constantly trying to make sense of things. These are our overthinkers, our overanalyzers. These are people that tend to get analysis paralysis. So if you're one of those, you're probably an auditory digital, okay? We all have some, form of all of these, but one of these will always be our primary way of interpreting the world and our primary way of learning, okay? So why I want you guys to see this is, although we did say before that words are only 7% of communication, when we're on the phone with sellers, we can't see their physical movement, right? We're not usually on a Zoom with them. Yeah, we can hear their tonality and if they're speaking fast or speaking slow, and we try and match that. But it's going to be more important for us to start listening to the actual words that they say, because these words now, what we call predicates, are examples of what type of person they are. Have you ever been in a negotiation with someone? Let's say you're like me, where I'm right, electrical engineer, auditory digital, very like things have to make sense to me. I'm like a little computer inside my brain. I'm always telling people, yep, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. If you ask me, well, can you see yourself living in this house? I'm going to be like, well, the numbers make sense. If you ask me, like, what does your gut say? I'm going to be like, I don't know. What do the numbers say? I'm going to go back to the numbers, right? I'm an auditory digital person. So I want you to think about this. This is really, really powerful. If you're listening, let's say you're a realtor and you are taking a husband and wife to go see a house, and the husband is an auditory digital and the wife is a kinesthetic. And you know this because you've been listening to how they speak. And all the wife cares about is like, how does this home make me feel? Is this where I want to live? What kind of feeling do I get when I walk in the door, right? All that kind of thing. And the husband is just like, show me the numbers. I want to know that this makes sense. I want to make sure it checks all the boxes. I want a pool and a 2-car garage, and it has to be in this school district, and it has to do this, and it has to do this. And he's only thinking about his checklist. The way you speak to them, the way you market to them should be different, right? So are there any realtors in this call? Or even, it doesn't even matter if you're a realtor, because even for investors, if you're trying to sell a property or buy a property from people that are have two different rep systems, you have to be aware of both of them. Because let's say as a real estate agent, you put them on like the auto email, right? Every time a new property comes up, they get to see the email. Well, within the system, you get to choose, are you sending them the breakdown, right? Are they just seeing like all of the stats on the home, or are they seeing the picture view first, right? If you know someone's a visual or even a kinesthetic, they're going to want to see the picture view before they even care about the stats, the size of the home, how many numbers of bedrooms, bathrooms, whatever. But if you're dealing someone that's an auditory digital, they want to know, does it meet all of my criteria? Does this investment make sense? Is this where I want to be for the next 10 years of my life, whatever it is, right? And a lot of things that you can pick up on are just certain phrases. So look at the bottom. I'm giving you examples. These are 4 different ways to say the exact same thing. If you're talking to someone, especially, oh my gosh, as an engineer, when I'd be in the room with people that weren't AD, I would like, and I didn't know this at the time, but I'm like, doesn't this make sense? This should make sense. Make sense. Make sense. That's my brain. That's how I see the world. And then someone would be like, I don't really see what you're saying. And I'd be like, well, first of all, how can you see what I'm saying? That doesn't even make sense, people. Like, what are you talking about? Or like, I don't know. I just don't feel that. Well, there's nothing to feel. Either it makes sense or it doesn't, right? Like, this is from my perspective, again, before I knew what any of this was. But now that I know this and I can pick up, like, I have 2 kids. Anyone that has kids know, I like my 2 kids, they are polar opposites. One is so kinesthetic. He's so touchy-feely. We lay down at night and I'm like, what are you grateful for today? And he touches my face and he's like, I'm so grateful for you, mommy. I love you. You're the best mommy in the whole world. And I'm like, oh my God, I love him. He makes me feel wonderful. And I'm not even a kinesthetic, right? And then my other son I'm like, what are you grateful for today? He's like, Mom, are you really going to ask me this every night before I go to bed? What am I grateful for? He's like, you make no sense, right? And I'm like, yeah, you're auditory digital. Thank you. I know that. And I'm teaching you gratitude. So it makes perfect sense, right? But you'll start picking up on these, and it's really, really, really powerful language. Take a picture of that, scan it, go to solo to CEO mindset.com. If you can't scan it because you're on your phone, that's just the website, solo to CEO mindset.com. My goal is to take 100 solopreneurs and turn them into the CEO of their business and life. So through mindset performance coaching, I can help you guys figure out what's holding you back, what's the negative emotions, all that kind of things. But also, if you go to my website at the scroll all the way to the bottom and click on free assessment, it will give you a little quiz for the rep system quiz, we call it. And it will tell you what your preferred rep system actually is. So you might think you know what it is, but I encourage you to take the test. Send it to any coworkers, business partners, kids, husbands, wives, whatever. It will be eye-opening for you guys to really understand each other on another level when you know how to communicate with each other.
Marie, I really want to thank you for being on today. I know we had some fantastic stuff. We went to the breakout rooms for a while. The breakout room part won't be on the YouTube video, but those of us that were on the call got to benefit from that. And of course, we've gone over the best way to reach you if someone should have any questions. I have one last question for you. You know, my group's a networking group, and we've kind of touched on the question I'm about to ask you a little bit throughout your call. But now my group's about networking, talking about the importance of relationships all the friggin' time. But from yourself, from a different perspective, a different person, different professional, your experience as a coach, as an instructor, as a mentor, as a trainer, as a real estate investor, business owner, you know, all these education platforms on social media, there's 25, 30, 40 different real estate education programs that have a Facebook page for their community. We have people coming to the internet, coming to Facebook to join these different educational platforms. Some of them are brand new investors with no experience. Some of them are very experienced investors, but they're coming to the new form of social media and networking. They want to learn. But my question to you is, what is the importance of networking, maybe joining a group like mine for the success of the new or the experienced real estate investor who, in essence, are new to social media?
Yeah, that's really good. Let me think about this for a second. Because I don't want to give you a blasé answer of like everyone needs to be on Facebook. I think as far as social media goes, I will say I still do not even have TikTok on my phone. And it's just because of the lack of community on TikTok, right? One thing that I love about Facebook in particular are the groups.
Yeah.
It's the availability to interact like this. So,
Huge.
you know, Instagram, scrolling through feeds, TikTok, whatever, there are educational things on there, but it's not community. And in business, I will tell you, I tried to do it by myself for so long, partly because I was just born and raised in New York and you don't trust anybody. You don't trust anybody, or you put them 10 feet under, right? Like we got the mafia around here. You don't trust nobody. And in this business, you cannot do it alone. You have to get over your own trauma, your own childhood mindset crap that you learned, and be part of a community that you can learn and grow together. Because the community aspect of it and working with people is what's going to take you from being a solopreneur, trying to do everything, and at your best, you're doing it at 10% of what it needs to be. As soon as you find the right business partner and the right people to JV with, that's what this is all about. So being part of a community like JJ's, you'll find all the right people that can fill those voids, figure out who you are, what you do best, right? So what is your strong suit in the business? What can you bring to it? And then partner with the other people that can bring those pieces in. Stop trying to do it all. And the best way to find those people is through networking and being in rooms with people like JJ and all these other gurus that you're going to pay money for, and JJ does it for free. So I actually want to say kudos to you, JJ.
Thank you.
I know what it takes to run a group like this, and I've done it for over 3 years, and it's tough, just to show up and put the time and energy that it really takes to pour into people. And I know why you do it. I know you have a heart to give back and love to teach and learn and grow. And this is your community, and
Thank
you
you.
are building your own community. So kudos to you. Thank you again for letting me join in here. I've met some awesome people on this call. All of you, please stay in touch. I don't mean that like as a cliche. I really want to get to know you and work with you. And, you know, if you're looking for more one-on-one coaching for mindset specifically, or just real estate coaching, business, whatever, reach out. I kind of do it all.
If you guys are watching now on YouTube, if you're watching the recorded video, please like Marie's video presentation. Please put something in the comments here. If you guys are on the call now, please look for it once it's posted. Please support the videos. Please put comments in previous videos that you've watched. Please like previous videos that you've watched. That just really helps what we're doing. And those of you that are watching on YouTube right now, please like the previous videos you've watched. Please comment on them. That engagement helps us in what we do, which is to help you with what you do. Again, you know, Marie's put her information up, which will be in the YouTube video as my editor. Make sure all the info is there. If you want to connect with me, go to my website, jjazizian.com. Look for the pulsating register now button. Please register for the group first. Look for more videos coming up from Flips Up with JJ. We've got a ton of great guest speakers lined up through the rest of the year. And we just start in October. And again, guys, you know, reach out to other people. You know, if you're going to send a friend request, send a message with that. Always use a GIF image. Always be visible. Get out of your box. No one is going to help your business grow but you. And you help your business growing by marketing yourself. You do not market your business, you market yourself. When you network, you need to network with intention. Something Marie pointed out earlier, something I say all the time, network with intention. Work the room, shake like you're shaking babies and kissing hands, you know. So with that, guys, stick around. Don't go anywhere. We're going to continue more with the breakout aspect of our call. And everybody else watching in YouTube world, YouTube University, thank you for joining us. To please look for more from Marie and Marie. Marie, I guess we'll see them all later, right?
Yep. I'll see you guys.
See you guys soon. Stick around.